Innovation took the first series of the day. So series number 2, we have a starting match here. Obviously after this, the winner will end up playing against Innovation in a best of 3. The loser will end up playing against Impact in the best of 3. And then we have the deciding best of 3 as well to figure out second place of the group between the 2 remaining players after that. So, pretty fast first series of the day. Obviously a 4.5 minute game 2 doesn't help much with that. Let's hope for some fun PvP though, as we do start to the top left hand side with the blue Protoss player from Team LP. This is Patience. Up against the red Protoss player in the bottom right hand side from Splice, we have got Stats. Now, Stats obviously showed us a pretty decent showing in Home Story Cup, only falling to Sue. Even took down Sterile in the groups. In fact, was the only player to give Sterile a serious loss in the tournament. But yeah, unfortunately did end up falling down to that lower bracket. And eventually Sue did catch him off. Who actually put him down to the lower bracket? Who lost? It was TY, right? Yeah, TY stomped Stats like 3-0. And Sue shut down Stats pretty hard as well. It wasn't quite as brutal, but it was still a strong performance. So yeah, Stats kind of did very well, and then he kind of fizzled out a little bit towards the end in the playoffs. But man, Sue was looking absolutely dominant in the series that they played, so you can't really, call too much craziness on that, as we do see probes having a little nibble against each other. A little bit of a fight right here. Cybercore is going to finish up on both sides in the next couple of moments. Now, there is a pylon up here from Stats, so this is something Patience will already be recognizing. There's only one pylon in the main base, so he already knows, okay, well, there is potential for you to be hiding a pylon on the map, whether that's going to be actually used for something, or if it is going to just be something to kind of mind game me in terms of, the fact I scout a lacking pylon. Well, that remains to be seen. Stats throws down the proxied Stargate. Now, Patience, his response is already going to be a Stargate. And that immediately puts us into a very intriguing situation here, where with Stargate versus Stargate, you oftentimes see players trying to transition straight through into Phoenix versus Phoenix. But for Stats, it's not going to be easy to keep that top right Stargate alive, necessarily, and if he loses power to that, all of a sudden he can't compete in Phoenix versus Phoenix, so it's not just keeping the Stargate alive, it's kind of keeping his keeping the units that pop out from just being instantly sniped if Phoenix are able to camp it overhead of his opponents. So you have to be very careful about that, as this probe of Stats will go down, shading 2 Adepts forwards into the upper left-hand corner already. So Adepts getting in towards the third base here. In the meantime, probe from Patience is going back down the right. Stats with the Adepts will shade. He's obviously looking to scout here, looking to pick up the info that there is not a Nexus being built at the moment. So Stats getting info. Both players going to open with an Oracle. So despite the fact that obviously Patience knows something a bit weird's going on, perhaps it's still going to be an Oracle on either side. Patience did build a single shield battery in his mineral line. That will save him against one Oracle, but Stats is saving up for the second one. And so that means that the Oracles can one-shot the probes, so the shield battery is pretty much just nullified. So at that point, you really do need something to turn those Oracles away, otherwise this is going to become much more of a problem. Patience building a second Oracle as well, but obviously his Oracles are further to fly to get across the map, and they were a little bit later as well because of the build order here. Stats now going into his Robo facility, and it just feels like Stats, has a probe extra, a faster Nexus, the Stargate was earlier. I guess he did opt to go for kind of 2 less Stalkers, but on a map like King's Cove, those 2 extra Stalkers from Patience have not really created any sort of opportunities or anything for him just yet, as well, there are Stalkers nearby, but they're actually going on a bit of a weird wander kind of around the mineral line. Oracles come in, get 4 probes, and they just get straight out of there as well. They deactivate their pulsar beams, and they just say, yeah, already 4 probes, that's a nice little something for me, that's a fifth of your economy at this stage of the game. And that does just slow Patience down quite a lot, while keeping the Oracles alive, creating a lot of opportunities to use these later in the game as well for more damage, rather than just suiciding them right now, and that being it, that being done. In that scenario, you would also lose a lot of your map control, which obviously would be a little bit of a problem. So again, the 2 Oracles continuing down to the bottom right-hand corner. A couple of Stalkers in the center here, getting caught in that Revelation. Forge on the way up in the back of this mineral line. The Phoenix coming through, and obviously the Phoenix is a very good way to shut down these Oracles, and It's Stats kind of somewhat punished in a way for being so aggressive with these. The Phoenix apparently stopped moving for a moment there, and it looks as though we will see the Oracle begin to escape. These Oracles had to recall. Ooh, Stats! Oh my god! With the recall, and he just gets away on 1 HP. What a save on that Oracle! Wow. I mean, kind of fortunate the Phoenix ran out of range in the first place, but then very, very... I mean, even the most masterful of time, but 1 HP, I mean, it has to just be a little bit of RNG that he got that away. That's impressive, as we do see the Stasis Ward down on the front. So just setting up defenses here already as Patience makes use of his Oracle. Stats will be able to do something similar, having saved his own Oracles here. So with an Observer in the main base, he's just seen what's up. There's no Observer from Patience. He went straight into the Immortal. And Stats is actually ignoring the Immortal production at the moment, instead opting for the Twilight Council and the Forge. Might just go into a more kind of Templar than committing in towards the Immortals at all. But you also see Patience, you can see his advantage in the +1 attack upgrade. That's pretty nice to have as well. I'm wondering where those Oracles of Stats are. They're just hanging out in the natural. A lot of energy on them, not really being put to use just yet. And here we go through the bottom side. Patience with the 2 Oracles coming along to see where he can get to, see what he can get done. And charge building up from both players. Our Temple Archives here dropping in on the natural expansion as well, so getting that underway. And top right as Zeld is swiping its way through this pylon. Oracle's just setting up that Stasis Ward also, so Stasis Ward set to go. Hallucination Phoenix now coming across from Stats. It's going to run into the real Phoenix, so it's going to be limited in terms of how much information it will find as it flies through the natural. Gets to see an Immortal, but that's about it. No scout into the main. No information to be gained there. Stats now going into his own +1, going into his own charge. Both these players on the 4 gases on the 2 bases and waiting to see pretty much the 3rd Nexus starting, right? I mean, as the Stargate is kept alive, there's a lot killed. I mean, at this stage, the 3rd Nexus pretty much becomes somewhat inevitable. That's going to be a nice block with the Stasis Ward, though. Did he get the probe to the side? Yes, he did. Really nicely done. Stats obviously knew this was here, and because of this, just moved the probe to the side so that it wouldn't block the Nexus. If the probe had come right in the middle, it would have got frozen here, and then you can't build a Nexus for the duration of that stasis. And that's obviously something you want to try and keep away from as Oracles. You're going to trade out some Revelations again. There's still a lot of energy on these Oracles of Stats. I really would expect to see something... Yeah, I would expect to see something a bit more coming from that as these couple Archons finishing. Meanwhile, a couple more Zelds coming through. Immortal coming up as well. So a lot of things getting started here as we do see the charge, again, is about to complete. So charge finishing up. Alright, well, just seeing what is going to happen here in the next couple of moments. What's up, Moonstrike Fool? Thank you so much for the 27-month resub. Hey, Dion, thank you for resubscribing, of course. Good to see you still around. Phoenix here from Patience actually finds the Oracles of Stats, but somehow getting out of range again is just going to lose one here now. And Stats begins to make his pressure and attack across the map, so heading towards the upper left-hand side. Still a few Stasis Wards to be afraid of here as, again, Stats has been playing without the Immortal production, so he's looking to kind of overwhelm somewhat on Archon and Zealot numbers. And Stats now actually just going to start a Robo Base. It looks as though he might be just be looking towards a follow-up here instead. Robo Bay will suggest the Disruptor style. I think there is a Stargate up here from Patience, so he has the chance to build Phoenix as a counter to those Disruptors. Depends if he keeps on scouting though. Like, he absolutely needs to keep on scouting here, otherwise he's going to be in a little bit of trouble as the War Prism, a few Zealots inside, going to head over to the left. Ooh, that's a nice Stasis Ward catch there. A bunch of Stats Army getting caught and will just be abandoned. I mean, nothing you can really do about that. There's a few Stalkers and, well, the other Archon gets caught in a stasis again. Not really much to be done. I mean, the War Prism into the natural is pretty nice. It will get some damage dealt, but again, there's also that point of there's only so much it will eventually do here as Patience cleans it up. A few probes lost. Doesn't really quite make up for the few Stalkers and the Archon, although altogether Stats is up by 9 workers, so has got that little bit of an economy to work with here. Oh, he's going Colossus. Wow, so he's not going Disruptors. How interesting. Colossus in PvP is obviously a little bit kind of out of meta at the moment. It's something that I mean, Colossus used to be the kings in PvP, but nowadays, not really anywhere near as much. As we do see the Warp Prism coming through the bottom side. Again, a few more High Templar warping in. Put them all those through straight into Archons, and yeah, I'm just intrigued to see what these Colossus can do. I mean, if you can get up to like 4 Colossus or more, that's going to be very scary. 2 or 3 don't really, I mean, the splash is okay, but it just doesn't really do enough, I would say. 4+ is where you kind of really get to that number where things melt. And if the Zealots in the front lines are melting, then everything else behind those Zealots will go down that much faster. So I love the kind of hiding of these Colossus to your right. I mean, if you look at Patience's vision, I mean, we know he's been poking the army. He has seen a second Robo, but he's never seen the Robo bit. And he sees an Immortal, so he's probably just like, oh, you're starting a, Immortal production here. There's no real reason to, to kind of assume the fact that there's Colossus in production. So definitely a little bit crazy in that regard. We're going to be seeing these Archon drops here from Patience. Actually going to end up getting a few probes. Stalkers, a couple more of those warped in to help. At the end, only 4 workers going down again. Very minimal amounts of damage when we do see damage happening. It's only been 3 workers here, 3 workers there. Never seen someone lose an entire mineral line. So these guys being very good with each other. And this course is about halfway done as Extended Thermal Lance will finish. Revelation, stick it on top of the rest of this army. Oh my god, the Warp Prism! Oh my god, this is so low, it's just going to get recalled. What a catch that was, out of stats. Really nicely done as we're going to be seeing the main army of Patience. His positioning, stats has got 4 Colossus, his 5th one is about to pop. He's got a good amount of Archons. I'm kind of a believer in the army of stats at the moment. These Archons, these Colossus should be able to get a lot done. Patience is kind of engaging with half of his army initially. Finding the army on the left side starts to come through. Stats will run up the ramp for his defense. I mean, those Zealots are just clumped and they go down so quickly here. The Stasis Wall doesn't really catch anything at all. The Colossus will continue to back away. Is it enough from stats in the end? He is missing an upgrade in this fight. Warping of Zealots will obviously go a long way to help out with Stats' defense here because he can warp in right on top. Meanwhile, the Warp Prism of Patience now will warp on top of the Colossus. Beforehand, he was using this to drop Immortals forwards, but those Immortals went down. And in the meantime as well, by the way, Zealots in the natural expansion. And so 22 probes of Patience go down. And with Stats making a defense with the army on his third base, he will, with that economic damage dealt, force a GG out of Patience. And we have a game. These are the sort of maps that get you there much more often than the others. So Patience, obviously, with the vetoes here, not afraid to play these larger maps. Unfortunately, I mean, you gotta give it to him as well. I think Patience did a lot of things right in game number 1. It was just at the very end, he just wasn't quite able to make it work. It is Patience, our red Protoss play on the bottom right side of the map. And he's up against the blue Protoss in the top left from Splice. This is Stats. So game number 2, as we get this going, we do see probes just chrono boosting out here to begin with. I mean, for gases to come up and again, just indications of where this game might be headed. No second gas from Patience though for quite a while longer than the second gas of Stats, so it's worth kind of keeping in mind there that Patience has just taken a later gas here. So that will be a little bit intriguing. How's everyone doing out in the chat today? Good to see you all again. Good to be back. Obviously the last few weeks I was in Korea. I was in Germany for Home Story Cup. We are back and we've already got a double header of action today, with the games between the players for the Team Liquid Map Contest Tournament. So that starts up later tonight. Obviously right now, the Masters Coliseum number 5. And we've just got loads of action for the next few weeks planned Really trying to make up for the last couple of months, which have been a bit slow on the stream. So yeah, welcome if you're just tuning in. Good, you know, like I just said, we're kind of back, and we're going to be casting a ton of StarCraft 2 over the next few weeks. So if you enjoy what you're hearing today, hit that follow button, and yeah, let me know what's up. Let me know who you're excited to see today. Let me know if you're cheering on Stats or Patience, or if you're just waiting to see some more games from Innovation. You'll be coming up after this series, of course, in the winners match. So yeah, let me know what you think's going on, and let me know how you guys are doing. Battling up to the top. Getting set to go as we do see the probe. Stats is bringing itself back home. Just moving around with the Stalker. And there's a proxied Stargate from Patience this time around. Stats went pretty quickly into the Nexus. And yeah, interesting to see Patience being the kind of the tech player, considering he did go for the later gases, but I guess the difference is going to be the fact that he made the 2 Adepts compared to the Sentry production of Stats, right? Stats, the Sentries, that's so much gas investment there for the Sentries already. That alone kind of gives him a lot of, that alone kind of is almost a tech choice in itself. The Sentries are great defensively with those force fields and so on. They're great for the scouting too, and of course scouting in here right now, we'll see there's still no tech structure up. So at this point I think Stats pretty much knows something weird is going on. A shield battery in each mineral line is going to go a long way as well. In fact, he had one on the natural already, but he will add one to the main as he sees nothing in the main, because I think he just knows it's very likely going to be an Oracle here, as those Adepts are going to try and shade back through. One of them went down. The shield battery was actually allowed to finish. That is going to be a completed wall-off. Just going to see the 2 Stalkers here from Patience trying to help out. The Adept did shade away. That's all Patience wanted to do, try and save the Adept, and he is able to do that at least. First Oracle flying through towards the main base, and, well, that means it's going to be threat by multiple Sentries and Stalkers. Shield battery as well. One Oracle on its own is really just not going to achieve all that much, so Oracle is going to fly away as Stalkers just picking off the shield battery, which he allowed to finish here on the high ground. Forge building it behind the mineral line. A couple more probes. The Observer about to complete it as well. Now the Twilight Council coming into the main base. +1 attack is also just ticking along here from Patience, so +1 attack upgrade still coming through. Stats starts his own up again. It's just that Twilight Council that's the difference right now, right? Twilight Council from Patience. We'll give him a Blink if he wants to play Blink. I mean, Blink can give him a lot of the map control here. I'm just thinking, can he get away with Blink rather than just going straight to charge? Like, is it too late for Blink almost? And it might be. I think it probably is just a little bit too late, right? Because he did invest into this Stargate early, and he's taken a while before adding on extra tech. Even the Forge came in before the Twilight. So I think just being, it just going straight in towards charge probably is the more likely circumstance here, unless you see something like a Resonating Glaives build for some sort of, Adept-based army timing attack. This nation is still just keeping track of the Oracles of Patience. Stats has just been building up his Immortal count, though. Obviously, the Twilight Council of his own coming through. No Robo from here from Patience, so this time it's going to be Patience who's kind of playing without those Immortals initially. However, it looks as though he will start to rectify that a little bit as the Robo drops down now. Again, that's set to go. So you can see the Stasis Ward in the center. Listen, Phoenix still flying around here as the Oracle just gets pushed away up to the top side. 6 gates on the way up. Templar Archives also about halfway done. Making that Phoenix here now. Just a single Phoenix probably just to help out a little bit. Push back War Prisms here and there. One Phoenix can actually get a lot done. Can have a lot to add in. So, Wash, how you doing, dude? Thank you so much for the 27-month resub. Says super excited for Nation Wars and Home Story Cup 20. The wife and I are going to be coming from America. Dude, it'll be good to see you. Home Story Cup is so much fun. I'm very intrigued to see how it's going to be like taking it to a different venue and so on. So, it should be really exciting. So, yeah, definitely do get yourself there if you can. Should be really awesome. Gateways, probes on the way out. Couple more High Templar warping in here, another shield battery at the front. Stalker's able to get rid of that Stasis Ward, and at the same time, the two Oracles here going up the left in towards the natural, going to be seeing the Photon Cannon. Is about to finish building, but the Stasis Ward and Stats is very slow to respond. The Stasis catches a ton of probes. Just as Stats is moving across the map as well, just as he wants to have a lot of income to be able to produce, you know, a big round of warp-ins to help him push up into this natural. I mean, Patience looks like he's so well prepared for this. 5 shield batteries are going to be pretty much done already. And I mean, he's down 2 Immortals, so I'm not sure how much that matters. Stats actually has a lot of his Zells just caught in the back. The single Phoenix lifts a Stalker. I don't think that was intentional. Probably was looking for the Immortal instead. I just feel like this is an attack from Stats that is not going to be long-lived, put it that way. These Archons now with Patience holding out as well. Shield batteries are kind of drained, and actually, okay, am I completely incorrect here? Is Stats making this work? Patience had a few Zells that weren't coming forwards for a while. Now, Patience still also has the 2 shield batteries here. There we go, Stats pressing up once again, so +2 attack just finished from Patience. That's going to be a big changer, big game changer in terms of what happens next. And it looks as though in the end, Patience will push this back, but I think originally Stats was actually doing much better than they thought. But yeah, Patience had all of those extra things coming in, right? The the lack of income for Stats, slowing down some of his warp-ins, for example. Little things like that. And Stats, with this being shut down, knows that this is going to be GG. His army is... Let's go into game number 3 between Stats and Patience. On the bottom right-hand side is our blue Protoss player, Patience, from Team LP, going up against the red Protoss player. On the top left-hand side, from Splice, we have got Stats. Third game of the series then, and nice to get a third map already here today. Again, a lot of the Masters Coliseum groups have been very short, and while our first series today was short, this one going the distance definitely helps us to, draw things out a little bit. So Cybercore going to be finishing in a moment on both sides of the map. Double gates are done as well. On Acropolis for our third and final map here, which, I mean, this really was just a series of all the large maps in the map pool. From King's Cove, through to Thunderbird, through to Acropolis. I mean, it's just macro, it's I want to take bases. We didn't see an attempt of a third base in the last game from Sats. So he took the third base, but there's a third base that's like, if I do enough damage, I can then, transition nicely. It takes less chances away from him to get back in the game. It was never really intended to be mined from, right? He never built enough probes for it or anything along those lines. So you can still see aggressive attacks on these maps, but they do generally have a tendency to say, hey, I want to get through to at least 2 bases, right? And have the potential of a third base if I don't hit a 2 base timing or so. Sub X-Force coming into the chat as well for 7-month resub on tier 3. Big resub from X-Force, thank you so much. I like that you're gifted your sub-gift badge. I didn't realize this, but they've now added different colors for sub-gifts, and based on how many gifts you have. Your sub-gift badge it matches the color of your name. That's pretty sweet. Sub dude, thank you for the 7 months on tier 3. Get some love in the chat for X-Force, please, guys. Good to see everyone today. Again, good to be back and streaming again. I know it's been a little while. Like I said, we're going to be streaming so much this month. We're going to be streaming day after day after day. We have something like 2 or 3 days scheduled as... Well, I think so far I have 1 day scheduled as a day off in July. The other 2 days we might still put stuff on, but like there's then only 2 other days. Got the words in the right order eventually. There's only then 2 other days which are not currently packed with StarCraft, so it's going to be a busy month for these couple of adepts from Stats. Escaping up the right side, Stalker going to go chasing them down. Just forcing them to shade already is a nice little something as the hallucination pops up here from Patience. Forge about to complete in the main base as well, so that's going to be done in just a few moments. Also an attack starting up on the Forge. Twilight Council dropping in the main base as well. I'm just going to be seeing these couple of adepts continuing in towards the natural expansion in the next few moments. Just again trying to get some damage done perhaps from Patience. Stats. He's pretty content though with the Robo facility up and running. The Immortal production has started. gives him a lot of options. But yeah, having Immortals early, it generally does suggest maybe being more aggressive here. In fact, there's not even a Forge for stats, so he's going to be very far behind on the upgrades this game. As Patience has once again gone for what we've been seeing a lot of recently, which is that +1 attack coming through on the Forge and the Twilight Council coming in, so you can just go in towards Templar Archives, charge, and, you know, charge lot Immortal, not Archon, or charge lot Archon essentially with no Immortals in the army. We saw charge and he cancels into Blink. How interesting. So last game we kind of had Twilight at the similar time, and we sort of said, well, maybe it's a bit too late for Blink to come in here. And that wasn't the best place to try and recall that Prism. Stats losing the Prism, but he is going to get quite a few probes here. These Adepts getting work done. 6 workers, it's going to be 7. Maybe even, does he commit to the Shade? Well, he wasn't targeting a probe anyways. Okay, 7 probes though, not bad at all. There's a bit of a shame about the Prism, because actually if the Prism is just in the main, these units on the low ground can't attack it, and the 2 Stalkers can maybe try and target it down. I don't think it goes down though. And also, I mean, if the Stalkers are attacking there, they're not attacking the Adepts, which are then getting damaged on the mineral line. So I feel like that was a bit of a misplay from Stats in the way that he dealt with that Warp Prism there. Definitely could have done a bit of a better job of it. As you see the hallucination coming down to the bottom side of the map. Stats just keeping up with what's going on. So these 4 extra gates. This Blink, I think, is the very interesting one, right? Because, I mean, as he scouts the hallucination, we'll see quite a few Stalkers, perhaps. Yeah, just gets a look at the army. And he sees more Stalkers warping in, so might have a good idea that it's Blink, right? If you're going to warp in Stalkers, then kind of makes sense. What's it going to be? Like some kind of like Blink Archon all in? I mean, we do see Patience starting to move across the map now. Stats is still just kind of building up his own gates himself. He's going to have Temple Archive soon. He goes into charge of the Twilight Council, which is, well, much more regular. It's just the Stalkers going across the map actually at the moment, though. Of course, they have a lot of mobility, and they will show themselves to kill that hallucination. So, Hallucinated Phoenix falls. Very interesting. Again, Patience with the +1 attack upgrade lead. That's going to be something that he maintains throughout this game. So, having that attack upgrade advantage makes things even more difficult for Stats in these engagements. It means, you know, right from the start, no matter what, he's just fighting with a disadvantage from where he could be. These couple of Immortals are choosing to actually target down Zealots there. Warp Prism will lift them up and get them out. Is still safe. Stalkers can't blink after that at all. Surprised he turned onto the Zealot rather than just trying for the Pylon, because the Pylon probably does go down. Especially because it just takes that bonus damage, right? So, a little bit surprised about that from Stats, who is going to be, well, sitting in the bottom side of his Prism. The Warp Prism getting its shields back here. Just a hallucination out of Patience, just, you know, sitting on this here. And seeing how that goes. Just going to see the Warp Prism hanging around. Stalkers here from Patience, moving over to the left-hand side. Guardian Shield's going to pop up as we do see one Stalker already killed off. So that's taking a few more shots as well. Across the map, that Prism is still in play, and this time is going and getting 4 probes, so Stats really applying the pressure. And just did have that third Nexus up a little bit more smoothly here. Already mining from it, is on a bit of, I say a bit of 12 worker lead, it's pretty significant. This is where Patience was just kind of cut at 45 workers, similar to how we saw Stats cutting in the last game. Robo Bay coming up here, about halfway done. Charge about to complete as well. More Archons morphing in over on the left-hand side. Those few sentries also just joined up here on the right. Hallucinated Phoenix is going to expire in a moment or so. The War Prisoner Stats chilling down on the bottom side, so still just Stats here, 2 Immortals inside of it, just waiting for the chance to come forwards again. So many Stalkers nearby though, and these Stalkers obviously a big threat, because if they blink on top of the Prism, it goes down. Those Immortals are very likely to die as well. And I still have the War Prism of Patience on the top side, so Stats with a smaller Stalker number shows just how dangerous they can be. These don't even have blink. That was just, I think, bad play actually by Patience, flying that in there and not turning it around when he sees the Stalkers. I think that's actually just straight up like a mistake from Patience. That shouldn't really happen. It's not like those Stalkers, they blink there and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, suddenly there's Stalkers. Patience going to pull Disruptors, so it's going to be Disruptors against Colossus. So Stats with the same builders, or the same kind of switch up that he made in the first game, where suddenly he just decides to add Colossus into play. Very, very interesting. Now he's actually going to go into towards Immortals, so he's seen something that's kind of changed his mind. He starts triple Stargate. He's seen the Disruptors then, and if he's seen the Disruptors, he's obviously like, okay, Colossus don't help me here, so I'm going to build a couple more Immortals and buffer up my army, but then I'm going to get those Phoenix out, and the Phoenix are obviously really crucial at dealing with the Disruptors. Being able to lift those up as they fire cancels the shots, and it pretty much is the go-to counter to the Disruptors here in PvP. You know, if you see Disruptors coming out from one player, you usually are seeing the Phoenix from the other, because it is just such an efficient and effective way of making, you know, shutting things down and getting things on track. As let's poison the bottom left and maybe try and strike somewhere. It's just that income of stats that's been so phenomenal throughout. I mean, for the last 3 or 4 minutes, Stats has, even 5 minutes ago, Stats has had the income advantages, right? And that's something which I think is starting to really show now in the army supplies. You know, 83 to 57. It's kind of a huge difference. And also Stats, I mean, he just built into 3 Stargates, for example, to build Phoenix. I really like Stats' spot here because it feels like he has the counter to the Disruptors set up in time. It feels like the economy's been very good for him. They're both going for Dark Shrine, actually, so they're both going for that sort of similar amount of harassment in the next few moments. Well, Prism of Stats did eventually come home, by the way, from this bottom side, so has brought those Immortals back. DTs opening here from Patience, yes, so I'm not sure where those are actually. Looks like they were across the map and they're just going to run over. It's going to take a little while, though. So production continues. Observer speed, gravitic boosters on the way out from Patience. It's gravitic drive, the warp prism speed coming in from Stats. That has just finished up, as we are going to be seeing the units now moving into the center. Again, those Phoenix numbers, pretty good, and obviously their goal is to truly just lift up those Disruptors during the fight, stop them from firing. If you can do that effectively and the Disruptor shots don't go off, it becomes kind of a big problem for Patience, because all that splash damage tech he invested into then doesn't have much of a role to play. Patience has a +1 attack upgrade lead as well, but with, you know, primarily Disruptors in the army, the +1 attack upgrade doesn't do too much to help out. Obviously it'll help with the Stalkers and so on, but you know, if you're relying on Disruptors, they don't really get affected by upgrades. First Disruptor shot, oh my god, cancelled at the last moment there. And it is going to go down. This one's just going to be a split, only an Archon getting hit by it. Not bad at all from Stats, though. Cancelling the 5th base is nice, and he's also at the same time doing DTs. Showing up on the 4th base, and this is what Stats does so well, multitasking and multi-pronging. And this 4th base will just go down. Not a fight. No fight there. Nothing to be done about it. A couple of probes dropping down. There's a couple of DTs, actually. Can't fight back against the one hidden DT. Ooh, Phoenix getting a little bit ahead of themselves, maybe. Stalkers are picking up some kills, and I think Stats is realizing that and saying, okay, well, that's my moment to maybe move back until more Phoenix arrive, because, again, the Phoenix are absolutely, for Stats, the game changers here in this PvP at the moment. Cells down the bottom, going to be able to swipe away, picking up some kills. Disruptors Chrono boosting out here from Patience as well. Two more Zealots picked off, and the rest of our Phoenix still coming out into the center of the map now. So a lot of these units gathering together. The Stalkers and the Sentries, well, they're going to be able to take themselves a watchtower. And blinks away over to the right hand side. Okay, these 3 Phoenix coming through already. Seeing what can happen. Disruptors in mass now as well. I mean, this is what, like 12 Disruptors? It's a lot. And these fights are going to be very difficult for Stats to execute correctly. Nice catch on the Oracle. Getting rid of that right away. Even using some lifts to kill off some probes. Stats is still maintaining that army supply lead, but has to be so careful with how he fights. Again, the Disruptors can make things happen, or make things go very wrong very quickly if you're not careful. DT from Patience is going to be able to defend. Not sure what those couple of Stalkers were doing there. Just no Observer here from Stats. Why has he not got an Observer? I mean, he has the Phoenix, right? So, kind of feels like he should have an Observer. Okay, he does have an Observer. I'm just not being very good at seeing it. Where are you? There he goes. He is in the army. I was going to say, if anyone doesn't have an Observer, it should be Patience, because Stats is like flown in with the Phoenix and he's been able to grab the kill. Wall's getting the pylon. Archon's getting the cannon. And looks like this fourth base of Patience might go down. The problem is if the fourth base goes down, there's some problems. One of the disruptors does manage to connect there. Phoenix going down because they're stacked over Archons, so taking quite a lot of damage. Next wave of disruptors is a bit of a mix and match. With 10 probes full, and Stats just backs away and says, yeah, you know what? Again, I'm already doing very well here. I'm already trading out pretty decently, so pulling back a little bit. Pressing over the right side again, it's going to be Patience to back away here initially. Still so many Phoenix up in the skies. Meanwhile, Stats still has a fourth base of his own. This was a bad... There we go. Fifth base building too. So he really has been very systematically just taking down Patience's structures over the last few minutes. And doing a very good job of that as Phoenix find themselves a probe here. Mortals starting to fire a couple disruptors. Connecting just on a Stalker. Not DT as well, just getting clipped a little bit here. And depths up the right side continuing to go down as well. This army's still just moving around trying to see what it can do. I mean, Patience trying to defend, but Stats the one who, again, is in that aggressive position. He's going to hop into the main base. I mean, a few probes that he can pick off here. The Phoenix are at that point where they have enough energy where they can deal some probe damage and still have lifts available to lift up the disruptors. Again, Stats DTs, they just show up and already multiple probes going down. His army has to back away, but with the inclusion of the mothership, all of a sudden, Stats has actually got a very scary army. I mean, the mothership really cloaking up and making it very hard for Patience to pick a fight into this. Fourth base going to be complete in a sec, so Patience can mine from that properly finally, but he's only got 39 probes again. Stats has just been bleeding him dry. Now, Stats has to be very careful in the fight. If they lose the fight very badly here, Stats, he will struggle to he'll be able to rebuild a bit, but he can't rebuild endlessly as a lot of disruptors lifted up, though, and that's the cancel on all of the disruptor shots. And now on the rest of this army, it's kind of just, you know, Adepts and a couple Archons against Zealots, Immortals, and Archons. The mothership actually taking a lot of damage as well. You can just see that this is a crushing defeat here for our Blue Protoss player. Patience, who has to back away at the moment. Now, that said, disrupts the back off cooldown, and the Phoenix did go down. So, for a moment or two, we actually might be able to see disruptor shots coming in big to save the day, and they actually are connecting. Phoenix lifting up what they can. A couple Archons going into the front. Patience is just going to type GG. He knows he doesn't quite have enough, even with those disruptors going off anyways.